Hello and welcome to another DaVinci Resolve tutorial for beginners. This one's about making simple titles for your video, which is very easy to do in DaVinci Resolve. In my first tutorial I showed you how to trim and cut a video. In this one I'm going to show you how to make some titles. First of all, what we need something to make titles with, so let's just grab something down and put it on our timeline. We need to be in edit mode for this to happen. So this is a video I'm working on the making of a model. It's a Humber Mark II, and what I actually want to call it is Humber Mark II. So how do you put a title on? Well, the first thing you've got to do is find the titles, and the titles are actually under your effects panel. If you can't see your effects panel, come up here next to Media Pool, and it says Effects. Just click that, and it opens up the effects panels, and the effects panels are under your toolbox. So open Toolbox and click Titles, and there they are. You've got two kinds of titles. You've got ones that just say titles and one that say Fusion titles. Now the difference is that the titles here just work in the edit screen. The Fusion titles, you can actually go in with Fusion and do some spectacular effects for them. We won't be going into that today because we're not going to deep dive into Fusion in this tutorial. This is just for beginners. So how to make my title? Well, what do I want to do? Well, what I want to do is I want to actually say what the model is. So I think I'll just have a basic title. If you hover over these titles, it shows what they do. Look. So we're going to use a basic title here. Just put text and just drag it to our timeline. Click on it to make it active, and then we need to look at it in Inspector. So if you can't see Inspector, come over here and Inspector's up the top here. Click Inspector and up it comes. We've got our title highlighted. And as you can see, it says Rich Text Basic Title. Well, I want to call it what it really is, so I'll just type that out. Building a Humber Mark II, which is what this is. And we can check that by just playing it along on our timeline. There we are, Building a Humber Mark II. And there it is, it's on our timeline. But I don't want it there. What I want is I want it at the start of my video. So what we do is we just move our video along the timeline a bit, grab our title, drop it in, and then move our timeline back, go to the beginning of our timeline, and there is our title, as you can see. Building a Humber Mark II. Very simple title, and goes straight onto our screen. There we go. Now we can do some special things with this little title. Let's just move it up a bit first. Move it up. Let's just bring our timeline in. Let's just expand that a bit. Bring our timeline in. Let's move that to the end. Bring our timeline in about halfway under. Now, what do you think is going to happen there? There we go. We'll move it halfway under. Well, what it will do is it will start off black, and then when it gets to the video, it will change. Watch. It becomes transparent, and then we've got our Humber there. What else can we do? Well, we can fade in and out. If we click on it and make it active, if you look, you've got a drag handle in the left and a drag handle in the right. You can actually fade in and out. So if you drag them and fade, so what we're going to do is we're going to do the fade in. I'm going to start the fade out at exactly the same point my video starts, so that will gradually fade as the video goes. Now watch. There we go. Gradually fade. We can alter how long it takes by moving it backwards or moving it forwards along our timeline. But that is how you put a very simple, very basic title into DaVinci. You can change the colour of the title. If you come up here and change the colour and pick a different colour box, let's pick red. We've changed our title to red. Now let's play it. Building a Humber Mark II in red. Same thing. It's going to fade out. It's going to clash with my red shirt. So let's have it in, say, yellow, which won't clash with my red shirt. It'll look awful, but it'll be noticeable. There we go. Very simple title. Now, that's not the only thing we can do with titles. Let me show you. You play about with all these things here. All of these things here tell you what other things you can do. You can crop it, you can move it, you can make it smaller, you can make it larger. All this is done under the video transform option for the text. As long as it's highlighted, you've got all these things like size. We'll make it smaller and larger. Let's put it over there. Look, we click on size. We can make it smaller or larger. If we click on tracking, that's the space between the letters. We can make the space between the letters larger or smaller. The line spacing is the horizontal space between the lines. We can make that larger or smaller. We can change the font. We can change the position. Look. We can even zoom in and out. And we can change the rotation angle of the title. If you wanted to be really clever, let's set the rotation angle at 0 again. If you wanted to be really clever, you could actually animate your title using the keyframes. Let's say I wanted it to spin out a 360 degree while it's fading. What I do is I come to zoom, I come to rotation angle, it's set at 0, I click there, and that sets a keyframe. If I come to the end of the title, which is there, and then rotate it by 360 degrees, which if I type in 360 in there, if I type in 360, and then set another keyframe, that should rotate 360 degrees after it's as it's fading. Now watch, it'll stay still. There we go, a 360 degree fade using keyframes. Again, something very simple for the title. You can do the same at the end. All you have to do is just move the timeline that way and then drop the title in the end, overlap it halfway, and it will fade out like that. There's the scroll title, which is the one next to it, which you can scroll up and down. So you can have your title going off the screen. You can scroll this off the screen, in fact, if you wanted to. We could do that, again, using the keyframes with the position. Let's say we're there and I want it to rotate and scroll off the screen at the same time. Well, the first thing I do is I set the position there. That's where it's going to start. And where's it going to end up at the end of the frame? It's going to end up, let's say, I can't see it because it's faded out. So let's have a look at it halfway through. Right. I want it to end up there at halfway. So I just set another keyframe. And we come to the end. And I want it to end up right off the screen. So we do that. And that sets another keyframe. Now that should twist it and move it up at the same time. There we go. That's how you animate a title very simply and very easily. Now, let's say I wanted to make a logo of sorts. You know, you sometimes see in the corner, you've got logos. Well, you can do that. You can do that again with a simple basic text title. Let's do another one. Let's put it up there. Basic title text. Now I want this to run the full length of my video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand it that way. Let's make this smaller. And I'm going to expand it that way by clicking and dragging. So this is now going to run the full length of my video. What do I want it to say? Well, I don't want it to say basic title. What I actually want it to say is I actually want it to say my domain name for my YouTube. So we'll type that in. Right, that's showing my domain name there. What colour do we want it? We'll keep it as white, I think. We'll keep it as white. What I want is I want it up in the top right-hand corner. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the position. There we go. We're going to move it up. I want it just a bit smaller than that. So I'm going to change the size down. I want it, that's all. That's it. That's perfect. Now, what I want to do is I want to highlight it in a colour. And it's going to clash with my shirt. So I think I'm going to highlight it in yellow. So what we do is we come down here to background, click colour, click yellow. And that gives us our background. Now, nothing will happen until we change the height. So what we do is we've got to change the height. And now you can see it's put a yellow background over it. Next thing to do is change the width, so it's the same width as our title. There we go. And next thing we want to do is change its position. So we want to change its Y coordinate. There we go. That corner radius I can change here. Yeah, I think I'll have a nice little oval, so I need to increase the width a bit. increase the width a bit, and I'll have a nice little bit of an oval there. That's it. Now that logo will run for the whole of my video. So we've got our video done now. There's our title going off and rolling. And there's our logo rolling in the corner there. And that is how you make simple titles with DaVinci Resolve. I hope that's helped you. Look out for more tutorials from me coming very soon.